what we have today is an X1D, just released today officially. We had the first live stream this morning at 8 a.m. With the introduction of this new medium format mirrorless camera. And what really sets this camera apart from anything else that's out in the market comes down to this. It's the size of the 50 million pixel sensor that's inside the camera. So we have a very compact camera design. We have a body that only weighs 1.6 pounds, so very lightweight, very compact, even with a 90 millimeter lens attached. We've gone to an entirely touchscreen display. And for those photographers that are familiar with our H6D camera, we're using the same graphic interface that we had on the H6D. We just carried that over to the new X1D camera. So we have just all touch display. So if we wanted to change, say, aperture, we can do so. If I wanted to change from manual to autofocus, we have that option. If I swipe up, then I can actually adjust the camera menus. So if I wanted to go in and make some other changes, I can do so. Simple button pushes on the side panel. If I wanted to go back to play images, I have that option. If I wanted to go into live view, I have that option too, just by pressing halfway on the shutter release button. Then I can go into live view mode. It does have an iStart viewfinder, electronic viewfinder. The resolution is 2.36 megapixel. So once I hold the camera up to my eye, the screen will actually go black, and then we can actually see the image and data right inside the viewfinder. And we'll actually have all of the information that you see, not only on the rear display, but we also have it inside the electronic viewfinder. And that's everything from the ISO, aperture, shutter speed. It'll let you know what aperture exposure compensation mode that you're using or your setting is. And on the top, we have some very simple layout. So we have our control panel button. So just a press release and just a simple twist of the knob will actually change and alter the display. So if you want to go from aperture priority, manual, aperture priority, shutter priority, program mode, we have MQ for quick, and then we have 3 program modes or profile modes on the camera. C1, 2, and 3. So you can actually set your own user profiles and store them. It's for future use, and you can really easily switch from one to another. Button choices. We actually up on the top we have a button for quick access if you want to set for manual or autofocus, and ISO and white balance. So with a quick, if I just do a swipe here, if I click the manual focus, we look at that position right here. I can change from autofocus right back to manual focus at one button push. If I go into ISO on white balance, it's just one button push, and then I can just scroll through the different options that we have. Press again. Or if I can just go in and I can just actually hit the shutter release button halfway to actually select that option. So very simple, very straightforward. On the top of the camera, we do have a TTL flash. It is set for dedicated Nikon SB units, Nikon TTL. Some program buttons on the back. So we have autofocus and auto exposure lock. And then we have our control wheels, so we can actually change through aperture and shutter speed on the front and rear control wheels. What I like about this camera is the ergonomics. When I hold the camera in my hand, I can just rest it like so. Shutter release I have access to. I have rear and front control wheels, and I have very quick access directly to the top buttons. And then also, with my thumb, I can just move it over for auto exposure lock and autofocus. That's it. Very straightforward camera. The camera will be available with a 45 and a 90 millimeter lens. We will be announcing a new 30 millimeter lens at Photokina this September in the 3rd week. And this is the introduction to Hasselblad's first mirrorless medium format camera.
So the chip on this is 33 by 44, is that correct?
The sensor is 33 by 44 millimeter. I should mention that we do actually have 2 panels on the side. So we have 2 slots for SD cards. So we have 1 slot, 2 slots, and we have options for this too. A customer can go, or a photographer can go in and set up the parameters for using the SD card. If I shoot and fill 1 card, I can have it act as an overflow and continue shooting to the 2nd card. If I want to have a backup, I shoot 2 RAW files, 1 to each card. So 1 is a security, a backup of the first card. Or if I want to shoot RAW and JPEG, 1 to each card, I have that option as well. Down below, I have input-output ports for video, and then I have USB 3, Type-C for our tether connection, and then also mini HDMI.
And what do we know about the video at this point?
Regarding the video, it is 1080p. It's 25 frames per second. And that's what
It's an H.264.
you're thinking, H.264.
But at this point, we don't know the data rates or the color bit depth.
At this point, I don't know.
But it will put a clean feed at the HDMI.
Again, I don't know. Yes, it should when it's actually finally shipping. Yes.
And tell me a little bit about the battery. We don't know how long it lasts at this point. But
Pre-production model. I can't answer anything about the battery.
It's a proprietary battery that's just for this camera.
It is. It's a 3200 milliamp battery. So I have a little safeguard. Battery goes in. It's just a matter of slight press. Battery is removed. So a little safeguard. But it is proprietary to the X1D.
And I've talked to some of you guys who've been shooting with it. They're pretty impressed. It does pretty well in low light.
It does. ISO goes from 100 up to 25,600. And we do long exposures up to 1 hour. And the top end shutter speed is 1/2000 of a second. And we have flash sync up to 2,000 of a second.
And the raw files, how big are they?
Native RAW will be 65 megabytes.
And the program should be able to access those?
At this point, Hasselblad's Focus, which will be on version 3.1, and then also Lightroom, Adobe Lightroom, and Photoshop can also read their raw files.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.